Alright guys, for this video I'm just going to do a quick introduction. I'm going to be getting out of the way. Today's video is actually going to be a follow-up on a video that I posted on the body camera channel yesterday. If I time all this properly, sometimes I screw up, but you'll understand when you see it here in a minute. This was the body camera video of a crazy guy who was trying to say that he was a resident of a condemned property. There were construction workers on the property that said they had been there for multiple weeks and that they had never seen this guy. They had an order to board up the property. And then one day he shows up and says, "Hey, this is my house. You guys can't be doing this to me." The officers were able to call a building inspector to scene and review the documents and the paperwork and told this crazy guy, "Hey, you are not allowed to be in this house. This house is condemned. If you come back, you will be placed under arrest." So they sent him on his way. What he did was overnight, sometime at like 2, 3 in the morning, he called the police, had third shift officers show up. When the third shift officer showed up, he showed him that 6-month-old eviction paperwork that had been canceled and said, "Listen guys, I'm allowed to be here. This is my house." And they said, "Well, we don't have anything to prove otherwise, so if that's what you're saying, go ahead and go inside." He did that, and then officers were called back to that house again in the morning by the same construction crew and asked to remove him from the house. You guys have already seen how that kind of happens. Well, the part that I mentioned in the video that you're going to get to actually see the details of today is his call to the office of the inspector general. He called and made a bunch of allegations against the officers, excessive force, intruding on his personal residence, things like that. So what I did is I took the part of the Civilian Review Board meeting where they actually talked about this particular case, and then I spliced in the video footage from the body camera while they're talking about it, so you can see the complaint or hear the complaint and you can see the footage going on at the exact same time. One of the things that is most interesting about this particular case is that the officers were completely exonerated about every single thing, every single complaint that he filed. But the person reviewing the footage took exception with the language the officers used and the way the officers spoke to the guy. So while they were exonerated for excessive force, violating his rights, illegal arrest, all these other things, the Office of the Inspector General and the Civilian Review Board believed that the officers' actions rose to a level of unbecoming conduct, and they levied a complaint and then sustained that complaint against the officers. So what you're going to see is all of the information specifically from those moments of the body camera that they're talking about, and then you can tell me as citizens, or particularly if you're citizens of the city of Columbus, if you believe that the officers' actions rise to a level of unbecoming conduct. Unbecoming conduct means that your conduct is so appalling and offensive that you should not be a police officer. That is the standard of unbecoming conduct. Tell me if what you see in this video rises to that level.
This is case number 571. Complainant was occupying an apartment that had been condemned as unsafe by the building inspector, and code enforcement officers posted a sign declaring the building to be unsafe. Construction workers saw the complainant in one of the apartments. They contacted CPD and they attempted to get the complainant to leave. He refused to open the door. Construction workers then knocked the door open with a sledgehammer. The complainant was found inside naked with 2 women. There are 4 allegations. Number 1, that the officer forced his way into the apartment with a sledgehammer. That was, with respect to that allegation, the officer is exonerated because the apartment was forced open by a construction worker. That the complainant was allegation number 2, that a female guest was thrown against the wall. There is no evidence of it, that she was thrown into a wall. She did run into a door frame as she was seeking to get out of the apartment when the officers came in. So that, regarding that, the allegation was closed as unfounded. That the complainant's face was slammed against a cruiser window. In that case, the body-worn camera found that the complainant's body was pushed against the side of the cruiser. His face made contact with the cruiser window, possibly as a result of being handcuffed, but the officer did not put his hands on the complainant's head or push or slam it into the cruiser, and that his actions were supported by CPD policies. There was no excessive use of force. And so the officer was exonerated on allegation number 3 and allegation number 4, that he was taken from his apartment and arrested for trespassing. He was advised that if he returned to the apartment, he would be subject to arrest for trespassing.
Okay.
They lied to you, said they didn't know.
Okay, listen. Listen to me for a moment. They have permits that say this house is not to be occupied. Okay? I just read them with my own eyes. I've seen the paperwork from the building inspector. It's not from code enforcement, it's from the actual building inspector. He is saying that this place is not to be occupied. There's not allowed to have anyone inside. The landlord is not allowed to let anyone in because he can face criminal charges for letting you in this house.
You were already in that.
You have to leave now. You're officially on notice.
Hold on.
So here's the thing.
Code enforcement doesn't have
I just told you it's not code enforcement, it's building enforcement. And I saw the paperwork. The house is condemned. It's been deemed unsafe.
Code enforcement's the only way to do that.
I'm not going to explain it again. So here's the thing.
Okay,
you have to go down to the court and you have to get basically a permission slip to come in and get your belongings.
You know Ohio law? When you condemn a house, you have to
I know a thing or two about Ohio law.
Okay.
I'm trained.
If you Google it right now.
Virgil?
You have to put the tenants.
Virgil.
He met the elements for violation of trespassing, so it's recommended that allegation number 4 be closed as exonerated. And so we move to agree with the Inspector General's findings regarding these, their conclusions on these 4 allegations in case number 571.
And there was a second recommendation, or a 5th recommendation there on that case.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. The Inspector General did find, they, on their own initiative, said that the officer was observed using profanity and calling the complainant crazy on several occasions.
I talked to the police already. They came out.
No, you're lying. You're full of shit.
No, I'm
Open
not
this
lying.
door.
Why would I lie?
Open the door. Why would you lie? Because you're crazy. Open the door.
I got 2 witnesses.
Open the door. There you go.
I know.
Jesus, put some fucking clothes on.
What would make you think I would lie to you, man?
Because you're crazy.
I'm crazy.
Yes.
What if you're wrong?
I'm not wrong.
You are wrong. And my kids are wrong.
And so that they did violate several directives, CPD Directive 102, Columbus Central Work Rules number 2, and Rule 8, with their use of profanity, and also Rule number 136, Conduct Unbecoming. We supported that recommendation that the officer, that this be that this be forwarded to the Chief of Police regarding possible disciplinary action in accordance with CPD policies and procedures.